Andy, is that the strongest team you've been able to pick?
Well, it really doesn't matter, does it? It's what's available to us, and it's always nice to have players coming back towards the end of a tournament. This stretch now coming up is probably the hardest stretch, isn't it? Back-to-back games with a six-day turnaround, etc. So it's nice that the squad's nice and healthy.
Just on scrum half, what was the thinking there?
Jemisin's just come back into the group. He's not been back long. We've seen his quality in training already, but Connor's playing really well and deserves his start.
Do you think that Connor's stronger play is going to suit the type of game that's going to bring to control it that before?
Well, Connor's a big game player and his style of play has suited a lot of styles that we've come up against throughout the years, so we expect him to be at his best.
Andy, with so many players fit for selection, was this the toughest team to select?
Not really, no. Form, people chomping at the bit, the right balance of what fits for the starting team and what fits for the bench as far as the energy that comes on is all part of the package, and people nursing a little bit of an injury like Stu McCluskey is fit enough, and if called upon he's fit and well and ready to go, but at the same time he's had a bit of a niggle there, so putting your hat on and trying to balance what's right for this week and for next is key for the rest of the tournament, I feel.
Obviously we know how good the Scotland backline is. The pack is also playing really, really well, so how big of a battle are you expecting there to get the platform?
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right. They're playing really well across the board. They're pretty physical in the set piece and in the carries and in the tackle area, and obviously in the breakdown, and all that's forward play, isn't it? And the forwards are setting the platform for the backs to be able to play the way that they're playing as well. So at this moment in time, the whole package, aren't they, as far as how they're playing, and very confident going into this game. I'm sure they are.
Andy, Johnny said yesterday that he feels that this is the toughest test of the championship so far, that this Scotland team is probably the best Scottish team that he's ever faced. Would you agree with that?
I think they've always been a really tough side to break down, and the proof's in the history of that. So, I mean, you name me a game where they've not been confident going into a game against Ireland, and rightly so, really, because we've always had ding-dong battles with them, so it's always been really tough, and this is no different, is it? So I suppose both sides are used to that.
And how pleased are you to have Tadhg Furlong back in the starting team?
Well, he's a world-class prop, and he's a great leader, and when you look around the changing room, there's certain players that give a sense of confidence whether they're saying something or not, and he's one of them.
Yesterday as well, something we spoke to Johnny about was his relationship with you. He just said that he's always had a brilliant relationship from when you've been assistant coach to head coach, and the best thing about it is that you've been always so approachable. Is that something as a head coach that you were, I suppose, cautious to want to be able to strike that balance that players could speak to you?
I'd be gutted if they couldn't. What's the point in that? What's the point in players not being able to speak their mind to you, because you end up just going backwards and going nowhere. The aim of everything that we do is to keep pushing forwards, and to be able to do that, you've got to know what each other's thinking and feeling, etc. So to be open enough that people can approach you has got to be the way forward, hasn't it?
Thank you.
Andy, Tadhg obviously hasn't played for a while. What gives you confidence he's going to be up to the pace straight away?
Some players can and some players can't, and he's across his detail like no other. Tadhg doesn't have to tear himself apart mentally to try and make sure that he gets up to speed, because he's already figured it out. He's one of those that probably when he's driving the car or sat in his room or having a bit of food or whatever, he's probably thinking about the game anyway. So when it comes to training, it's all boxed off. So he brings confidence to the team by how he prepares, and that gives us confidence to know that he's ready to play.
It was obviously unfortunate for Finney, but how positive was it that, I suppose, Tadhg, not that he's a point to prove, but comes back in with someone else who hasn't played well in his position?
Well, Tadhg's nothing to lose, He just needs to be himself. He just needs to go out there and and enjoy it. He's enjoyed the week. He's pretty relaxed so far. He's been great around the group. He'll build up for what's going to be a physical battle like everyone else will be, and he's nothing to lose. He just needs to go out there and perform the best he can for his team.
And finally, how tough a call was it at 12? You had a few options there.
Well, yeah, and that's what we want, isn't it? You know, I feel it's been good. It certainly hasn't been planned, you know, through injuries, etc. I'd be lying to say if I said it was, but it's nice to try and get the balance right of giving people time to show the worth, etc. And as I said, to be able to be fit enough squad for this weekend, and hopefully, fingers crossed, you know, we go well this weekend, and you know the injuries hold up and we go into the last round pretty healthy as well is key.
We went through an open training session recently in front of the fans. You were able to get up close and personal. How important is that connection with the supporters as you go in pursuit of hopefully something special this year?
It's everything that we've talked about for a good few years. You know, a lot of teams would focus on doing it for themselves, the inner group, and obviously the outer circle to that would be the families, etc. You know, but we from day one have widened that, and you know, took the responsibility on to say that, you know, we're responsible to show the next generation of kids coming through, to show them what they're striving for, what they want to be involved in, how they can be proud of their team. And I suppose when you throw the net out a bit wider to the parents and to the supporters of these of the kids, etc., and the whole of the nation, is something that we want people to be proud of, and that's what drives us on in the way that we want to play the game.
Where do you think the biggest challenge is going to come from Scotland this weekend?
Oh, all over the field, I think. You know, it's, anyone who watches the Scottish game at this moment in time, they realise that they play with pace onto the ball. They've got a nice flow into how they galvanise the back line together the whole time. The forwards are pretty physical. The breakdown's always very contested, isn't it? You know, so yeah, they're in good form. They're in good form. Again, I'm sure they're confident going into what is a huge game for them and a massive game for us also.
Andy, what's the thinking behind putting Caelan back to number 8 and bringing in Peter? What was your thinking for this selection?
Caelan's a world-class number 8, and he's on fire in that position. So.
He can express himself better in that position as opposed to.
Not necessarily, no, because you know I think that's. Yeah, I think people can think too much into that, because you change the way that you play to make sure that the personnel are able to be themselves anyway, you know, so no, Caelan plays well whether he's at 6 or 8, but I think this balance is the right one for this game.
Do you have to tell anything specific to Peter who's come back in, any particular job, or does he just know it at this stage?
What do you mean?
What's expected of him? That he was left out last time. Do you have to give it?
He wasn't left out last time.
Oh, sorry.
He definitely wasn't left out. He and it's the same for the rest of the squad. You know, the best compliment that I can give everyone who's involved in this squad is that we've been outstanding in training this week, and there's only one reason that we've prepared so well, is because everyone's mucking in, and everyone has a role to play to make sure that this team is prepared the best it can be. So on that basis, to answer your question, this has always been about the squad, and everyone realises that.